Cemetery Man. One of my absolute favorite horror films of all time. The film came out in 1994. I discovered it around 2001, and it was a period where I was really getting into sort of Italian horror films, you know, Suspiria, stuff like that. And this film just kept popping up in every recommendation, and anyone who was talking about Italian horror, they could Cemetery Man, Cemetery Man. And I remember renting it from the video store, a VHS copy, and watching it and just absolutely falling in love with the movie. Obviously later getting my DVD copy. So it's based off of a character that appears in a comic book called Dylan Dog. Really bizarre series of comics. Check them out if you like horror. But this character is just sort of in there. The film stars Rupert Everett as Francisco Della Morte, and he's the cemetery man. So the basic premise is this. Guy works in a cemetery. Whenever someone is buried in the cemetery, they come back from the dead shortly after, and he makes sure to track them down if they start to wander, shoot them in the head, and rebury them.
They came back sooner than we thought!
The movie gets very bizarre, very weird. There's a weird sort of love story, gothic romance type stuff. The last act of it is absolute insanity.
Go away!
Very surreal, very weird. The last shot of the movie is iconic amongst those who love the movie because it's just so bizarre.
Could you take me home? Please.
Yeah.
It's a kind of movie that you can watch multiple times and sort of get a little something different each time. It's sort of artsy in that regard. But it's also just straight gore and zombie goodness with comedy, lots of comedy in fact, and with certain elements of the movie.
No, please don't. He's only eating me.
Move aside.
Mind your business. I shall be eaten by whoever I please.
This is my business. They pay me for it.
It's a strange film, but I absolutely love it. It's one I revisit about every couple of years. I'll take the time to sit down and rewatch it. I like gothic horror, and this film, although not necessarily marketed as gothic horror, that it completely is, especially with sort of that romance story that's within it. Like I said, Rupert Everett is the star of the film. Fantastic job. He has the bulk of the film is him. So you spend a lot of time with him. He has a sidekick named Nagi who also works at the cemetery. There's a subplot that develops that gets strange.
And you never say no to a kiss. Take advantage. I'm certainly in no position to refuse. Besides, I don't think I'd refuse anyway.
Uncomfortably strange. I love the way this movie is shot, and I just want to highlight that really quickly. It has a, I keep using the word gothic, but it does have that very gothic feel to it. And the bulk of the film is inside of a cemetery, so that, definitely feels that. And it reminds me a little bit of sort of the old Hammer horror films. Like, there's a lot of elements of that in this. It does get a little strange in that third act. That final shot is bizarre. I would even go as far as to say some people, it may turn them off and irritate them a little bit. But if you embrace that inner artiste inside of you and just embrace the weird, basically, you'll love this film. This is A+ for me. Like I said, this is one of my favorite horror films of all time. This is one I revisit every few years. Cemetery Man.